Hi, sorry. If you haven't watched our last video, I'm in fact going to put up the link there. It's important because today's video is in continuation to that. Why our mental health matters and why you, of all the people, of course, me and you, matter. And in that video, I speak about how small acts can have a huge difference. And amongst those acts that I want to talk, the first one today has to be exercise. That's in fact one of the reasons why you see the title of the video as what it is. Before I give you facts and ways in which exercise can help you, let me give you small statistics that people who work out, even if it's for 20 minutes, 15 minutes a day, have 26% less chances of getting into depression. And obviously, these are consistent acts that help to the degree that it also helps in making sure that we do not relapse into depression as well. And that's in fact one of the reasons why exercise has this power. I often talk about this. There are three kinds of people. There are the ones who exercise, the ones who think that they should be exercising, and the ones who are proud that they do not exercise. And of course, all the three categories know that exercise has benefits. For many, it might just be to put on that muscle. For some, it might be to lose that weight. But what many people do not realize is that it can have a huge impact on your well-being. It can have a huge impact on your mental health. That's in fact one of the reasons why I want to share a small story, a background about my life. Undoubtedly, one of the most difficult phases of my life was my first year of entrepreneurship. No plan except for this one intention that I want to serve the education space. I want to make sure that I help youngsters get everything that I do not get, especially from a skill development point of view. In fact, I was so naive, or call it reckless, that when I started my business, my bank balance was 40 rupees 50 paisa. One of the reasons why my bank balance was 40 rupees 50 paisa was because I couldn't withdraw that money from the ATM. And just before I had resigned, if there's one thing that I did good, was I paid for that full year of gym membership. Every morning I would get out of my house in search of a new opportunity, a new college, far off, outskirts of Bangalore where I live. And by the time it was evening, like a defeated soldier, I would reach home, many a times disappointed that people couldn't give me an opportunity. Many a times because I looked very young, because I was very young. And as soon as I would reach home, keep my bag, change my clothes, and go to the gym, I would work out, I would push myself to such an extent that I would leave all my anger, disappointment, stress in the gym itself. And of course, in all honesty, it wasn't always about workout in the gym. There were times where I would just work out a little, but I would talk a lot more because I would socialize, mingle with people, create a friend circle there, and it was my happy place. That gym definitely was my happy place, with my friends and many people around, pushing our limits and wanting to be in the best of health and shape. Now, when I look back, I know that it is that place that got me out of my anxiety, my depression, and that humongous amount of stress that I had during my struggling period. And of course, I've had my fair share of on and off, especially when it comes to fitness. Considering the fact that I'm a food blogger, I'm a foodie, and I love food, it's always a battle between health as well as my taste buds, that is my love for food. But nonetheless, let me give you some important factors that you need to keep in mind, especially when it comes to exercise. Why is exercise such a miracle? Because when we go and exercise, again, I do not want to use technical terms. Let me be as simple as possible. When we exercise, our brain produces certain hormones. And there's this one happy hormone that our brain produces, especially when we work out. That is your antidepressant. Of course, without any side effects at all. It has the most long-term benefits that you can possibly think of. And I know it might sound insensitive for some of you who are right now going through stress, anxiety, or even depression to tell you to just get out, go, probably work out. I don't mean to be insensitive or mean to sound insensitive, but trust me, been there, and statistical data backs as to nothing has a long-term effect as much as exercise has, especially when it comes to our well-being and our mental health. Of course, physical health, no doubt about that. That's in fact one of the reasons why when I speak about exercise, I'm not talking about a 1 or a 2 day factor. You go to the gym, especially you have to force yourself to go to that gym and work out. It's not going to be easy. But then when you push yourself, especially on times where it's difficult, and just get yourself out of the house and go and probably make that gym your happy place, one day you will definitely thank yourself for doing that. If gym is not your space, it's okay. You don't have to go to gym. You know, a lot of times people ask me this one question. Why is it that I wear 2 watches? A lot of times I'm tired of explaining to people as to how this is a fitness band and this is no doubt a smartwatch that also has fitness features in it. But I'm not here to do gadget reviews. The reason why I wear both of these is because both help me. One has circles that I'm so obsessed in closing, and the other one has step tracker, which is so evidently clear. And as you can see here, I make it a point that I have targets that I accomplish. No matter what happens before going to bed, I need to complete those 13,000 steps, and I make sure, hook or crook, I complete. Because there are days where if I'm not in the mood to work out, and by the way, when it comes to workout, I make sure at least 3 days in a week, minimum, most likely 4 days in a week, I work out and leave those other days for rest. But when it comes to walking, every single day is my target, 13,000 steps. And there are times where I've even pushed. The highest I've gone is 35,000 steps in one single day. And of course, that was quite some time back. And I also know how bruised and swollen my legs were when I did that. But I'm not asking you to go, leaping bounds when it comes to targets like those. If you can get yourself this simple band, probably a Mi band, and wear it and make sure that you just get yourself out. At least 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes of walk, even indoors, is good enough. I remember how in my running days, this is before the pandemic, even after, just before the lockdown, I did do alternative days of morning runs. But before all of this pandemic happened, I know how just running early in the morning was therapeutic. Not just that it's good for your body, but then it was also good for my mindset, because I stay close by to a lake. I would run morning, the sunrise, that beautiful scenic beauty that nature's bounties had for me. I would just stand there in that lake, click pictures where the sun rays give that golden touch to that water, and it was such an amazing feeling. And as I would stand there sweaty, sometimes a little breathless, I would tell myself that I'm so lucky to even witness this morning. Because it's not just that workout or that walk or that run, it's also about that focus that matters. Especially when you're working out, if you're still thinking about your sorrows, and if you do not want to push yourself, it doesn't work. If you're running, make sure that you observe. Observe how nature has been grateful to you, how you are so lucky to even have that particular moment, rather than thinking about things that drain you, that drown you. Even if you do this indoors, it's good enough. Especially with pandemic, I've been doing this indoor. I have this nice cushy mat, just to reward myself. I put that mat in front of the TV, and all I'm doing is wearing my indoor sports shoes, which I don't wear anywhere outside. I'm just spot jogging and spot walking by watching probably a Netflix show. That way I win in both ways. I get my steps as well as I get to watch that show. And There are times where I go to the terrace and I'm just running rounds or walking rounds, listening to podcast or an audiobook. So I'm doing multitasking because when I run and when I walk and even when I cycle, my focus is much greater, and I want to take advantage of that by aligning my thoughts into an activity such as podcast or audiobooks. I've also seen a lot of people who go regularly to yoga, who've spoken to me about how umpteen amounts of benefits it has, especially when it comes to our anxiety, depression, as well as stress. If you have a yoga center close by, go join, or download an app in your phone and try it. Push yourself, because of course yoga has its umpteen advantages, and you can align with the vision of the Prime Minister as well. If yoga also doesn't work for you, if dance does, dance it is. I remember how, the first time I probably went out partying, I was just high on water and the music. I danced, and when I saw the number of steps that I had taken just by dancing, I was stunned at the number. And that's when, in fact, I realized that even dancing is therapy. Some of you might say, oh no, I'm not a dancer. Me neither. A lot of times when I go for my Zumba classes, at least before the pandemic, the steps that I could, I would, and the steps that I couldn't, I would just run. And I didn't care about what others would think, because I was there for myself and my well-being. Same thing. If you don't want to go out because you think you're not a good dancer, just play loud music and dance like nobody's watching, or you don't care who is watching. Remember, it's either of these or all of these. As long as it works, as long as we sweat out, we can stress out. And that is probably one of the reasons why it's so important for you to understand the need for exercise. And of course, it has multiple other benefits as well. It sharpens our focus, it helps us sleep, and of course, I'll make again videos in future about sleep, which I'm currently working on because I struggle with sleep as well. And next week when I meet you, I will talk to you about another small act that you can indulge in, which can benefit you in your mental health. But then, until then, work out, make plans, constructive, concrete plans for you to get yourself that sweat out philosophy, and make sure that you have a beautiful life.